Hello, and welcome to another episode of Atomic Health Podcast. I'm Ashley Harris of Atomic Health Whole Body Wellness, and today we are talking about the field of holistic nutrition and what a holistic nutritionist is. To do that, I have a special guest. If it's got something to do with helping people live their best life, she's out there trying to fill the gaps. When not at her desk helping busy women with stress-related health concerns, you may find her volunteering, speaking at engagements all around the world, or creating the next big health food product. She's a national best-selling author, social media manager, and teacher for the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition, co-director of a government-funded community health organization, business life coach, and much, much more. If I tried to list everything she does or has accomplished, we would quite literally have no time left for the rest of the podcast. She is truly inspiring. My guest today is Joanna Brown, founder and owner of Rejoice Nutrition and Wellness. Thank you so much for being here, Joanna.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Ashley. I'm so excited.
So my first question is, what is the field of holistic nutrition?
And that is a big question right out the gate. So the simplest answer I have is holistic nutrition focuses on the interconnectedness of the body and the mind and the heart of the person. It's really looking at the person's specific, both internal and external world, and really learning about how their eating habits, their diet, their sleep, their stress response, their lifestyle, even our thoughts, our lived and shared experiences impacts our mental, physical, and emotional health every single day.
100%. That's such a good answer. And so, what is a holistic nutritionist, and what does one have to do to become a holistic nutritionist?
Yeah, so a holistic nutritionist takes about 1 to 2 years based on the program that you're doing of practical study as well as theoretical study with case studies and people really learning about the interconnections within the body and the system. How if you're suffering from, for example, brain fog or difficulty sleeping, that the root might actually be something within our gastrointestinal system, our digestive system. So it's really about sort of uncovering and getting to the root of what might be happening and using a multitude of different, tools we have, such as our nutrition, our sleep, self-care practices, movement, right? Whatever that individual needs to find balance within the body.
What is the role of a holistic nutritionist and the focus when working with a client?
Yeah. So
on that a little bit, sorry, but can we, go a little bit more in depth with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our main role is to listen to our clients' experiences, their needs, their desires, and the tools that they already have in their wellness toolbox. A lot of people already have some really great skills, but they need more. We need to fill in the gaps for them. So providing knowledge, resource, and opportunity to bridge those gaps where they're needed for our clients to deeply connect to what foods and lifestyle habits really make them feel their best. So again, it's that process of interpreting those body systems to find those underlying factors that may be contributing to imbalances that are holding them back from reaching their goals. And then using food and that practical behavioral change to address some of those imbalances. So that's the focus. And the role is always, again, we're listening. It's non-judgmental. It's a collaborative approach to really create this customized approach to suit their biochemically unique needs, right? We know in holistic nutrition, there is no one size fits all. So when we're coaching, it's about having that deeper understanding of that human's needs and then creating this customized nutritional wellness program to support and optimize the body's innate ability to renew and repair itself by promoting wellness and addressing unpleasant symptomatology.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So how do we differ from other health professionals, and how are we beneficial to the wellness community?
Oh, yeah. Well, working in the health industry for over 15 years, could date myself a little bit there, but I've had the pleasure of working on many multidisciplinary teams, and that can include dietitians, occupational therapists, nurses, psychologists, naturopathic doctors, even osteopathic doctors. And it's great to come together. And we have a lot to bring to the table from the field of holistic nutrition. And how we specifically differ at that table is we don't focus on just one single element. So, for example, only the diet and disease connection, which is a typical conventional approach to nutrition. But instead, we're focusing on those interconnections, right? How all the internal and external factors in someone's life can be impacting on how they're feeling. And then we differ in the approach that we're taking. So we're looking at the whole picture, but then the approach is preventative versus reactive when it comes to supporting someone's well-being. It's about enhancing how we feel to live in our bodies the way we want to live versus just using the absence of disease as our only indicator of health.
It's a great answer. It's great that we have the ability to do that and to be a part of these other professions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. When you have a client at the table and you have everyone around you, we just say, what does this person need? Right? Yeah. Maybe an osteopath makes sense. Maybe we also need to get some blood work done. Maybe we need holistic nutrition. What do we need to put? And we are those tools. We're tools in that wellness toolkit for someone. So what are all the tools? Who can be the most useful around this human to help them feel the way they want to feel, to live their best life?
I know when I was going through school, I actually leaned on a naturopathic doctor. So when I was going through school, I actually got, I have a naturopath. And so I kept going to her and being like, can we do this? Can we try this? And it was that trial and error approach, but doing the whole body aspect of things. And it was really neat being able to do that before coming out as a holistic nutritionist. And working with clients, being able to see that work firsthand.
And you said something very, very powerful there, which is that trial and error. And that really sets us apart quite a bit because when we're working with our clients, we say out the gate, we're not going to get this right the first time. I'm not living in your body. You are driving your body, how you're feeling. I'm in the passenger seat, right? I'm here to be a tool to figure out, what do you need? And we're going to make our best laid plan with the information we have. But really, how your body is responding, how you're feeling in your mind and body is going to dictate how we're going to pivot. What's the next step we're going to do? So I'm going to create the best plan for you, but we're going to come back together the next week. I'm going to ask you what works really well. What didn't? What do we need to put in place to get around those potential barriers that were not working for you this week? And once we keep working that and working it, it's trial and error. But when we get it, we get it. It's like a switch, right? People are like, this fits. This feels good. It's easy. I don't have to think about it. It just works with my lifestyle and I feel fantastic. Versus, here's my really great program. And I'm going to take you, round peg, round hole, and try and just fit that in. It doesn't work that way. It's got to be trial and error. And we need to do it collaboratively with our client to say, how are you feeling? Like, how are you feeling? How's that brain fog? How's your energy? How's the sleep improving? And we're connecting that for our clients to become self-aware. So, you're right. I actually had a great sleep. I'm in a way better mood. And then they really start listening to their own internal body cues. And that's when the magic happens, when we start teaching our clients to listen to their own body. And then we're working collaboratively with it versus being at war with our body. And that's where the magic happens.
And it's so magical. When that switch goes off, it's so great seeing, when you start working with someone too, how they come in, and then when you're done working with them, just the whole change within. And I think that's what makes it so worth being in this profession. My next question is, are there any rules and regulations that must be followed by a holistic nutritionist, and how are we held accountable to these?
Absolutely. We have really strict code of ethics. We also have a very clear scope of practice, and you must adhere to those. We have professional associations. So here in Canada, we have the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition Alumni Association, and we have CanPro, which is our Canadian Association of Holistic Nutrition Professionals. Both of those are a professional organization, and they ensure that we are abiding by our code of ethics and our scope of practice. Now, even though we are not members of the Regulated Health Professions Act, we still have to abide by all of the rules so that we're not working outside of our practice. We're also bound by the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms and all privacy health legislation when we're supporting our clients.
Such a great answer.
Yeah.
And then are our services covered by insurance?
Yeah, and that's always a big question, right? So it's with all alternative modalities, it really depends on that insurance provider itself. So one thing that we're seeing is flex spending plans are becoming more and more popular with all insurance companies. So a lot of employers are opting for a flex spending plan, which allows you, the insurance holder, to choose where you want to spend your money. So if I don't use glasses, why am I paying for glasses in my insurance if I don't want to use it? Instead, I might want to use that money, that flex spending account, on holistic nutrition, on maybe a naturopathic doctor, maybe an osteopath, right? So this flex spending account is great, and we're seeing it being used all across Canada. So if you have flex spending, you can choose to use it, and we are absolutely covered under that flex spending. Lots of insurance companies also have nutrition coaching or consulting, and we are covered under that, and nutritional programming. So if you take an online program, and there's a very specific outline for that program. So weight loss is an example. And you complete that program, you can send that certificate to your insurance company that allows for nutrition programming and have that covered. I always do recommend, it's important that we ask our clients to go check with their policy, especially here in Canada, because due to, again, those HPA, our Health Protections Act, each province has a different one. So if you live in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, or Alberta, the word nutritionist is actually protected under the School of Dietetics. So if you have in your insurance policy dietitian/nutritionist, it can mean two separate people. Unless you're in those three provinces, it actually only means dietitian. So you need to make sure that you check for those things in your policy. So our services can be, but again, you want to check. It's with that insurance provider itself.
It's so great to know that there are options for clients because, I know times are tough for a lot of people and health is so important. So knowing that, they have that ability to at least have some of it covered is really helpful for people, I believe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do find as well, there comes to a point, and obviously this is going to, be impacted on that person's financial means, right? But I find in my practice anyways, over the past 7 years, a lot of people have been through everything already conventionally that they've got with their doctor from referrals, and they still just feel like they don't have answers, or they've been given that one size fits all kind of cookie cutter program, and they just know that's not working, and they're ready to take the time to invest in their health. So when we can get it covered by insurance, that's phenomenal. But on the flip side, a lot of people just say, I'll check, but regardless, I still want to work with you because I've done everything else and that's not working. I need to figure this out with myself, and I need someone, again, alongside me on this journey to really to make a plan, to figure out what do I need so I can feel better, because I'm tired of feeling the way I want to do and who I am, and I want to see an improvement in that area. So when they want to work with you, they just want to work with you. People are clear on the difference of what holistic nutrition can bring, and I find when you're there at that place, you're just ready to do it. And insurance often for many can be kind of a side thought.
And health to me is the most important aspect of things. I mean, no one deserves to run around feeling crappy all day long. Everyone deserves to feel energetic and vibrant. That's how you're supposed to feel, you know? So I find that's so important. Why do you feel working with a nutritionist is so beneficial, especially in today's society with the standard American diet and our fast-paced world? And I know we've touched on this a little bit, but I know, like, as a nutritionist, right, we've talked about how, we work on the interconnections of things. But can we talk a little bit more about, diet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great question. It's a big question. So I'm going to do my best. Working in the health industry for the past 15 years and in my own nutrition practice over the last 7, I've heard and seen the exact same gaps from all of my clients. And I'm going to go back to what I mentioned earlier, which is this one size fits all approach, right? We know we're all biochemically unique, and what works with one person is not going to work for someone else. And people are just plain frustrated. Right? They're going to the doctor with all of this symptomatology, all of these concerns. They'll get a blood work test done, and the doctor will come back and say, "No, it looks good." And the client is left to be like, "But it's not good. Like, it can't be good. I don't feel good. Like, I know my body, and something isn't working." So people are feeling like they're getting a lot of doors kind of closed. There isn't good information. There's so much misinformation on the internet. They're so overwhelmed. Again, they'll often get sent to a standard program, like a Weight-Wise program at the hospital. Or they go and they're given all of these handouts of foods that you should eat or you shouldn't eat, regarding with, in line with their diagnosis, without any of those considerations about the person's lifestyle, their capacity to cook. What about their cultural food preferences? I'd accompanied a client of mine that had gone to see a dietitian in the hospital, and we left. And the client that I was working with was low income. English was not her first language. And we left, and she had this sheet that was, these are the foods to eat, and these are the foods you shouldn't. And she said to me, I don't even know what half of this is. This is not the food that I typically eat. I don't even know how to cook most of these things, and I can't afford most of the things on this list, right? So we're not taking into consideration the financial, demographics and geographical demographics. Does this person have access to whole foods, affordable food, right? We're not taking into these things into consideration. So they don't feel heard. They're left to feel frustrated, totally defeated. They feel like nothing seems to work. And then they internalize, like, I'm just a failure. I guess I'm always going to feel this way. And they feel really hopeless, which is why working with the holistic nutrition approach means considering all of those factors, working collaboratively with our clients to curate a plan and a system that actually aligns with their life, their needs, their goals, their financial situation, their cultural, status, what's important to them. Food is cultural. There's emotional components with food. We don't want to take away foods that have connections to people. So when we actually take the time to figure that out, it increases success, sustainability, and satisfaction within our clients. So the food is such a key component. So instead of here's your do's and don'ts list, it's what food matters to you? Why does it matter to you? How does it make you feel? And how can we make adaptations? How we can add things versus taking it away to really enhance how you want to feel? How do we deal with that gas and bloating, but also increase your energy by aligning the foods and the lifestyles that matter most to you? And it's a process, like you said, trial and error. It takes time, but you're sitting in it with people willing to figure it out, willing to pivot versus here's my really great program, or here's the one pager, good luck. And they're like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, thanks, not very helpful, right? So that is, I think why it's so important, so beneficial, is to figure out what works for you, right? On all of those levels. And really, again, what sets us apart from others in the industry.
You said that so perfectly. And it's the baby steps. I always say this, baby steps become big steps. And if you just take everything away from people and don't listen to their concerns wholly and look at them wholly, there's not going to be results, because you can't do that. You have to look at someone as the individual that they are. And you answered that so perfectly. Are there any additional comments you would like to share with us today, such as memorable transformations, any other knowledge, advice to anyone wanting to work with a nutritionist?
Yeah. With transformations, I would say it's one of the greatest gifts that I've received in working in this field are my client testimonies and transformations of those that I've had the honor of working with. And for me, it's those aha moments that people have, right? You can see when a piece of information really clicks for someone, right? And they know how to feed their body to feel their best, right? Instead of, I'm going to follow along with this program that you've given me because you've told me to do it. Well, we know that's short-lived, right? I can follow something for only so long. It's not until it clicks. It's that moment, right? When they say, okay, I look at food completely different, right? And when they know that, when they connect with that, that's what's really exciting. When we're unlearning and relearning in order to establish a positive relationship with our food and our body. And they're no longer at war with food, right? Instead of, I don't know what to eat and that stresses me out, they're just at ease with it. They know how to feel, they know how to feed themselves to feel their best on their terms. And that is the best part of my job and my favorite part about the field, because that's what's sustainable. Because anyone can follow a program. You can have the greatest program ever. And at the end of 6 weeks, unless you've really worked with someone to feel the difference in their body, it's not going to be sustainable. And that's why I love holistic nutrition, because nutrition so much. It's digging deeper. It's saying, let's try this. Did it work? No. Okay, let's try something different. We as practitioners, we really got to put your ego on the shelf, right? Put it aside, because it's not about us. It's about us collaboratively working and figuring this out with the person and being willing to really sit in it with them until it connects. And when it does, that's transformational for clients and it stays with them forever. And I love it because I've had clients come back years later being like, gosh, you said this one thing and it has made this difference. I look at food completely different. And it is often those little small tips or those little baby steps that you were mentioning, right? That makes this profound transformational change for their whole lives. And that's really what I love about this industry.
And that I think is the most important thing is it's not starting something to not use it for the rest of your life. And I think you hit the nail on the head with the gaps, because that's what we do. We teach people lifestyle for the rest of your life. It's the change in the mindset, and it always makes me feel so sad because there is, like you were talking about food, and I always find there's such like a disconnect with people and how food can be so traumatic for some. Mm-hmm. But food is a beautiful thing. And so when you have the ability to sit with people and get those clicks and have them change their mindsets and it actually becomes a healthy relationship, it's magical.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I've had so many clients over the years that say they literally have a panic attack when they walk into a grocery store because they don't know what to buy. They're so overwhelmed and there's so much different information, right? You can literally go onto the internet and be like, is this food good for me? Is this food bad? The same one, and there'll be opposing articles and you're like, I don't know what to eat anymore, right? Or it's so overwhelming, right? So finding a way that's unlearning and relearning. How do we kind of let go some of that food industry, big food, right, which is really money driven, diet culture? Like, how do we let go of some of these things and just get back to the basics? Yeah. And be like, but what feels good for you? Forget that program worked for so and so. Like, what do you need? And why does the certain foods that you enjoy eating, why do they matter? Is there some kind of, connection to that from your childhood, or is there a cultural connection there that really matters to you? Well, if that matters, why would you not want to include that into your daily life? Like, let's do it. Let's find a way that makes you feel your best.
Yes, exactly. And, nutrition is such a beautiful thing. And I feel blessed that we get to do this every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here with me today. You have shared so many incredible things, and I'm just so grateful that you were able to be here with me today. So thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. It was absolutely so much fun.